Hi, in this video I will briefly discuss Booleans. So in case you are unfamiliar with Booleans, Booleans is a term used for operators that convey either true or false. And these true and false or Booleans are really important later on in our course once we are dealing with the control flow and logics. Because lots of time we will want to check if certain condition has happened or if a certain thing has happened, if a certain condition is true in order to execute some code or it's false to do something else. For example, you may want to check, is my pool empty? If yes, then start filling it up by turning on the water and certain other things of this nature too. So that's why Booleans are really important, and a lot of times we won't be dealing with the Booleans directly in terms of true and false, but we will actually have comparison operators and logical operators that return a Boolean. So let's explore some examples in a Jupyter notebook. So here we are in a Jupyter notebook. If you're willing to assign a Boolean to some variable, you can do that by writing true and assign this true to something. If I press shift and enter, you would see that the output is true. But if you do notice the capital T right over here, because if you write the same true with a small t, you will get an error of variable name undefined. It's because it doesn't recognize this true. If you're willing to create a Boolean or assign this true Boolean to something, you have to write this with a capital T. If I try to check the type of this true, you would see that it returns Boolean because it is indeed a Boolean. It's either true or false. So if you're willing to do the same thing, if you're willing to write a false, you can do that by writing false with a capital F, and the small f won't work the way the small t didn't work. Okay, so as previously discussed, true and false are Booleans, and you have seen how to create them and how to check the type of them. Now let's discuss where we can use that. As I have already said, we will not interact with these Booleans directly in our code, but there would be certain condition that would either return a true or false. In other words, it will return a Boolean. So suppose there is a condition where we have to check if 1 is greater than 2. So if I press shift and enter, you would see that it would return false, and that false is a Boolean. So we can store this either in a variable, or we can perform certain condition upon it, or we can execute if the condition is true or false, something similar to that. We can also check that if 1 is equal to 1, and do note that a single equal is an assignment operator, while double equal is the comparison operators, and we will discuss briefly the comparison operators in our upcoming video. But right now, just understand that if we compare something with something and those are equal, it will return true, which is a Boolean. And if something is not, if the condition is not matched, suppose in this case 1 is not greater than 2, then the condition would comes as false. So this is pretty much it for the Boolean video. Just to quickly recap, Booleans are operators that convey either true or false, and we will be using these later in our course when we are dealing with the conditional, the flow of program, or the logic, or the conditional statements. We will use them there. Often we will not interact with these Boolean operators directly, but we will be getting them in a result of certain condition. In this case, if the 1 wasn't greater than 2, it returned false, and if 1 was equal to 1, then it returned true. So this is pretty much it for this video. I hope you understood what Booleans are. We will briefly discuss this later in our course. So till next time, enjoy programming and hacking. Peace out.